to think of our continents as these permanent, rock-solid fixtures. But right now, one of the greatest land masses on our entire planet is quite literally tearing itself apart. So, we're going to explore this massive geological thriller that's unfolding in real time, right under our feet. Okay, let's dive right into this because this story, it doesn't start with slow, boring rocks. It starts with an absolute explosion in the dark. Picture the Ethiopian night sky just being completely shattered by the glowing, violent lava of the Hayli Gubbi volcano. And this isn't just some random eruption. It's a massive fiery flare sent up from deep underground, basically signaling that something incredibly monumental is happening to the Earth's crust. It really all comes down to this one undeniable fact. Deep beneath Africa, the Earth is tearing itself apart. Just let that phrase sink in for a second. We walk around every day treating the ground beneath us as an absolute given, right? But deep down, these immense tectonic forces are actively and relentlessly reshaping the continent. It's a completely unseen scale of geological threat, just driving a wedge through thousands of miles of solid rock. And while the true cause is hidden miles below us, the immediate impacts are entirely surface level and, honestly, incredibly chaotic. We're talking glowing lava exploding, giant ash clouds rising over the African landscape, and spilling directly into our daily human lives. I mean, this isn't just a localized science experiment. It forced international airplanes to completely change their flight routes just to avoid these massive, choking clouds of volcanic ash. It's a perfect example of ancient geology violently interrupting our modern logistics. So the crucial point is, what's actually causing all this surface-level chaos? Well, it's the East African Rift. This massive geological fracture is literally the seam where the African continent is actively splitting into two entirely separate landmasses. It's kind of like someone took a giant, invisible chisel to the eastern side of the continent and is just slowly, relentlessly hammering it apart day by day. Now, what's really wild to me about this is the ultimate paradox of geology. On the one hand, you have all this sudden violence, right? Massive earthquakes, violently shaking the ground, volcanic eruptions blocking out the sun. But on the other hand, the actual mechanism driving this whole thing, the creeping reality of the continent splitting, is happening at the exact same speed that your fingernails grow. Think about that for a second. It's mind-boggling. The most violent, explosive events on Earth are caused by a process so incredibly slow you couldn't even see it if you stared at it for a lifetime. But nature always leaves us a trail of breadcrumbs to follow. The visible signs of this split follow a really clear, destructive progression. First, deep underground fissures are pulled open by immense tectonic stress. That triggers earthquakes that fracture the ground above, and ultimately, that acts as a chimney for molten lava from deep within the Earth to flow directly to the surface. It's literally a continuous engine of planetary remodeling. And if you want to see this engine completely exposed, you have to look at ground zero, the Danakil Depression in Ethiopia. It's one of the hottest, most alien and extreme places on Earth, and it gives scientists a direct, real-time look at these immense forces at work. And researchers aren't just out there with rock hammers anymore. They're using highly advanced satellite views of Earth to track every single millimeter of movement. In the Danakil Depression, you can literally look down into glowing red fissures and watch the Earth's crust being stretched dangerously thin. Which brings us to this really powerful realization. The continent is changing before our eyes. When we look at that satellite data and track those giant fault lines spreading across East Africa, we are watching a live broadcast of planetary evolution. It absolutely forces you to reevaluate your relationship with the planet. The ground beneath our feet is not a permanent fixture. It's a living, shifting puzzle, and we just happen to be standing on one of the pieces while it's moving around. But, okay, here's the catch, and it's a massive one. Millions. That is the timeline we're working with here. While the explosive signs of the split are totally visible to us today, the entire process is going to take millions of years to actually complete. And that injects this incredible sense of awe into the conversation, doesn't it? We're getting a microscopic snapshot of a process that completely dwarfs human history. By the time this continent is truly torn in two, everything we know today will be ancient history. So where is this massive tectonic tug-of-war actually heading? Well, we start right now, at present day, with those giant cracks and glowing fissures spreading across East Africa. Fast forward millions of years, and the African plate